Alright guys, I just did it. I used the Unihertz Jelly 2 mini smartphone for a week straight, and in this video, I'm going to tell you guys how it went. I'll give you the highs and the lows, and in the end tell you if I'd recommend using it as a daily driver. This here is a Ridge wallet. It's the primary wallet that I use, and this here is the Unihertz Jelly 2. Just to show you how small this thing is, it can literally be hidden behind that wallet. It is such a small smartphone. The technology really is amazing. It's very much so a mini phone. Now this is the iPhone 8 coming in at 4.7 inches, which is pretty small in 2022. But the Jelly 2 is so much smaller at 3 inches. It's only an inch smaller, but like it feels way different in your hands. And this is the Note 10 Plus coming in at over 6 inches. Just to compare the bezels, the Jelly 2 is literally a jelly bean. It is like a jelly bean mini phone. The bezel's much thicker. While using it for a week, this is the first downside. When I hold the phone, my pinky naturally sits on the underside of the phone. Well, if you look here, there is a little pinhole, and that's actually the speaker. So naturally holding the phone like this, instead of this, like really awkwardly, if you're talking on the phone and your finger's covering that pinhole in the slightest, the person on the other end will not be able to hear you. Sure, this seems very minor, but it's important to take note of. So if I was on the phone like this, I would think that the phone was cutting out, but it was just my finger in the way. If you hold it like this, your finger's gonna cover the speaker. But if you hold it like a dirty bar of soap, your calls will be clear. The same concept will carry over to the loudspeaker on the bottom of the phone. So I'm gonna pull up Spotify and play some white noise, just so you guys can get an idea. Again, this isn't a complaint, it's just something to take note of because there's nowhere else for the speakers to go because the phone is so small. So here, I'll show you guys what I mean. It completely blocks out the noise. If anything covers that loudspeaker, you almost can't even hear it. Not a complaint, just a relative thing to take note of. Don't cover the speakers. And with that noted, the speakers are fantastic. Now this question, how do you text, was probably asked the most while I was using the phone, and using 2 fingers and typing each letter individually is not the way to do it. The way to do it would be by swipe, and it's all muscle memory. It's not that hard. Swipe is definitely enabled with Android 11, which is what this phone runs. And just to give you some context, my wife didn't know how to use swipe. I gave her this phone, I told her how to do it, and within about 30 seconds, she was swiping to text. To explain, very short, you drag your finger over the letter you'd like to type, and predictive text will help you type that word. And as you use it more, it gets smarter and it's super easy to text. I can actually text on this device faster than I can text on my daily driver device, which is a Note 10 Plus. So yeah, texting on this thing was actually like my favorite thing to do because it was so fun. With that noted, I want to talk about something. If you have questionable vision or even slightly bad vision, do not use this smartphone. Look how small the text is to read. It would be an absolute nightmare to try to use this with questionable vision. I hold my phone about 2.5 feet away from my body while I'm reading. Could you imagine reading this small text with this small of a smartphone? If your vision is questionable, just stay away from this thing. Here's an example of the text being so small on the screen. About every morning, I go into 7-Eleven and I use a self-checkout. I use the built-in scanner to scan food items. I scan the UPC code and check out on my phone instead of going to the line. It gives me a small QR code which I scan on my way out of 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven has a scanner to read your QR code and you're good to go. Well, the phone is so small, I thought it wasn't reading. In the end, it was. It just took a little longer for the QR scanner to read my QR code because the phone is so dang small. Anyways, not bad at all. I was excited it worked. And another thing I really loved about this mini smartphone was a drop-down menu from the top that had applications that were just built in and not additional apps you had to download, including this screen recording feature right here. Pretty sweet, right? There's also the classic, nightlight, hotspot, nearby share, screenshot, NFC, and a few others built in there. Probably my favorite though is when you make calls, you can record the phone call and you don't need an additional app. Yeah, so we're gonna come see you tonight and eat dinner, I guess.
Oh, fun.
You didn't know, did you?
No, Melissa did tell me.
Now, something I was surprised of was the back camera of the Jelly 2. It actually has a 16 megapixel back camera with a front camera of 8 megapixels, which is pretty surprising. I'll show you guys a recording right now of what that looks like. I am recording on the 3-inch Unihertz Jelly 2 smartphone. I go on walks in the evenings, or I run, either one, but this is a selfie cam. I just wanted to show you guys how it looks, really. I do have to say one thing, running with this, or walking with this thing, is freaking awesome. I'm unsure how bad the wind sounds. I guess I'll see once I turn the camera back around, but this thing is so cool because it's such a small device. It fits in the palm of my hand. It's a miniature phone. So I'd have to say, one of my favorite things with this device is how mobile it is. It's super small. You could literally have it as a keychain. It's that small. Now we're recording with the back camera. I'm unsure how much the wind is interfering with it, but just to show you guys some detail, it is a 13 megapixel back camera, and it works pretty well. Super impressive. I just about got hit by a kid riding on the sidewalk, but I used to ride my bike on the sidewalk too, so yeah, I would say its weakness is going to be in low light, but yeah, I think it's so cool. One thing I thought that was kind of cool was how easy it is to conceal this. I mean, you could see my hand. I've got a cell phone on the other side. I would be sitting, like one example is we were in church and I was sitting there and I was recording her and she didn't even know it. Here's a couple pictures. I thought it was kind of funny. So yeah, I was snapping pictures of her, and because this is it's so easy to conceal, and people don't even think it's a camera, it's kind of funny in that way. Something that's really awkward with the phone is the placement of the USB-C charge port, and it's right on the side of the phone in comparison to being on the bottom. So you're not supposed to use your phone while it's plugged in, but if you're like me, you do. And if you're gonna use the phone plugged in, it's just a really awkward way to have this cable in the way of your hand while you're texting and using the device. I got used to it, but initially it was weird. Now, this next part's gonna seem trivial and kind of funny, but yes, you can run apps like Call of Duty Mobile on this device. You can see I'm super zoomed in to even see me playing, and my thumbs are absolutely just gargantuan on this thing, and I'm playing on easy mode, but the processor can handle playing Call of Duty Mobile. That's pretty freaking impressive, and I think it's freaking funny too. While I was using this device, it definitely happened. I'd be hanging out with one of my buddies, and I'd get this thing out and start playing Call of Duty, and they would be like, dude, what the heck are you doing? And I was playing Call of Duty. It would be so easy to sell this phone. I'm in the works of doing something with Unihertz. I am contacting their marketing team, but people don't know this phone exists, and I'm all about it. The other day I was eating sushi with a friend. I had this phone, and the server was absolutely obsessed. She had no idea where I got this device, and we had like a 10-minute conversation. So it's so cool. I could run cloud gaming on this. I could run Genshin Impact. There was not any application I could not run on this device. Genshin Impact works. Apex works. PUBG works. Free Fire works. I'll show some footage of those games running, but this thing ran every application I ran, including, I work for a software company and I use Okta Verify. I use Outlook. I use calendars. I used everything on this device. Super, super impressive. Here's a short clip of mine from TikTok of me playing PUBG. It works perfectly fine and it runs smoothly with no lag. On this next clip, this is Genshin Impact. Again, this takes over 11 gigabytes to run. This phone runs fine. Absolutely nuts. One other thing I wanted to take note here is that this device can be used as a hotspot as well. So I actually did use this in the week I was playing with the device and using it as my primary phone. You can use this thing as a primary hotspot, which is super useful. Super easy, just give the hotspot a name, set a password, and then go into the Wi-Fi settings of the device you want to connect it to, and it's that easy. You have a hotspot just like that. Again, this device has 6 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of base storage. The processor is MediaTek Helio P60, runs every app I've tried just fine. At the end of the day, what is my verdict as using the Unihertz Jelly 2 as a primary smartphone? Well, it comes in 2 parts. The first part is it capable of doing so? In short, yes, it is absolutely capable of doing so. Again, this thing has 6 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage. It runs a 4G LTE SIM card. I'm personally on T-Mobile. It runs a MediaTek Helio P60 processor. I personally never ran into anything with the device while using this for a week that it wasn't able to do. So, would I use it as a daily driver phone? For me, in my case, I can't use it as a daily driver phone just because some tasks are difficult, like editing photos, taking higher quality photos, recording, sending emails, etc., etc. But I will keep this device and use it on a daily. When I go to the gym and I exercise, I'll switch the SIM card right out. If I go on trips, this will be my primary device. For traveling, it will be my primary device. I think this is a fantastic device to have as a backup for costing only $200 off Amazon or off the Unihertz website. I have put the link to this device down in the description. This is not a paid sponsored video. I am in conversations with Unihertz to be a partner with them, but I was not paid to make this video. So I feel like it's a great device and I will use it, just not as my primary device because I use devices so freaking heavily that the device is just too small for what I need it to do. And speaking to the performance side, it did absolutely everything I needed it to do. So overall, I would give it a pretty high rating for being a mini smartphone. I love it. If you've made it this late into the video, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and always go look down in the description for product links and more.